Hey Rams, welcome back. It's Bald for Bucks week, and we have a great lineup of stories today. I'm Cruz Fleming.
And I'm Chris Schrader.
Today we start with a special piece. Emmy Baylis is a sophomore here at Rampart, but she's also a part of RHS history.
In 2014, Emmy was our Bald for Bucks hero child. She and her family have agreed to be interviewed on the 10th anniversary of her part in Bald for Bucks.
Everyone at Rampart has a story that doesn't always get told. Emmy Baylis is one of those students who has a deep-rooted history with the school she now attends after being a hero child just 10 years ago. After getting diagnosed with leukemia, a long journey towards recovery began.
You know, Emmy was just over 2 when she was diagnosed with cancer, and it started with a bloody nose. She'd had nosebleeds for kind of on and off for a month, and she had one I couldn't stop. So we ended up in the emergency room, and within 45 minutes, we knew that she had leukemia. All it took was one blood test, and they came back down and said, "Your daughter's very sick." That was kind of how life started for her, and kind of a lot of her early memories, I think, are formed by that experience. You know, doctors and nurses and
a lot of blood draws in my port and in my back, and just like giving me blood, taking blood out, a few surgeries here and there. And my type of cancer affected my blood, which affected my immune system, so I couldn't fight off disease very well.
After overcoming the challenges of her diagnosis, Emmy was invited to be Rampart's hero child for Bald for Bucks in 2014.
She was about 4 months maybe, out of treatment at that point. And it was really overwhelming, as you might imagine, for a kid who had just turned 5 to come and have all these people cheering for her and so excited, and to watch other kids who were shaving their heads and said, "Oh, Mom, they look just like I did."
It was a really powerful experience to see how many people supported you even though they didn't know you, and just from hearing your story.
Having the connection to Rampart when Emmy was a little kid influenced her decision to choice in as a student.
I think from going to Bald for Bucks last year, it was inspiring to see that happened to me. It's just made me realize how powerful of a school this is for doing this.
We want to go to a place that has a community that participates in community actions and programs, and one that's going to lift up other kids and other families the same way that we felt lifted up by Bald for Bucks.
The lasting impact of Bald for Bucks is still felt by Emmy and her family, who recognize how the fundraiser helps other kids just as it did her.
When a kid goes into treatment, they're going to be less sick, they're going to feel better, they're going to have a more normal childhood experience with that cancer because of the effort that students like the students here at Rampart put into that Bald for Bucks initiative. So we're so grateful. If I was a parent 40 years ago, my kid wouldn't have had the same chance to survive that Emmy did.
Emmy's presence in Bald for Bucks was memorable to those taking part in the assembly. Alexis Bailey was a Rampart alumni who returned to shave her head and shared some memories she has of Emmy.
She came over and she watched my entire shave. She sat in front of me with her mom and her little stuffed animal. And you could tell she was overwhelmed. The whole experience was huge. And that was just cool because she was so young and so unaware of the impact that she was having on such a big group of people. She now has had this impact as a little girl in our community, but now she's come back as a student at Rampart. It's incredible. And to know that she's healthy, she's doing well. And a lot of what we did back in 2014 was all worth it to support her and make her feel special.
Emmy is proof that Bald for Bucks has a powerful effect on Rampart and our community. This has been Fiona Vachta reporting for Kram.
Thanks to Emmy and her mother for being a part of Bald for Bucks and our community.
As we prepare for Bald for Bucks tomorrow, Kram and Stuco have a few special reminders about how to behave during the assembly.
Let's take a look at this humorous reminder about Bald for Bucks etiquette.
This Friday, join in support of our fellow Rams and hero child for our annual Bald for Bucks Assembly. But before all that, let's go over some do's and don'ts to make sure everyone has the best experience. Remember, don't interrupt our speakers. They all have important things to say, so please make sure you stay quiet and stay seated while they are on stage. Bald for Bucks can be an emotional time for many, so please be respectful to all fellow peers and be mindful of any emotions they are feeling. If at any point you feel too overwhelmed or simply just need to step outside, please exit the gym and make your way to the auditorium. In the auditorium, a broadcast of the assembly will be shown, so don't worry about missing any of the festivities. Along with personal cameras, journalism students are working hard. Please be mindful of them as they are trying to capture moments to keep forever. Try to stay out of their way and do not distract them. While walking around the gymnasium, there's a lot of expensive equipment being used, so to prevent accidents, stay cautious of any wires on the gym floor. While the assembly starts and begins, the doorways can get pretty crowded. To keep things up to speed and prevent injury, please refrain from blocking any part of exit. And finally, please avoid taking hats from the volunteer tables. Therefore, any Ball for Bucks participant who shaved their head. Thank you, Rams, for your cooperation. This has been Carter Phillips reporting for KRAM.
Please remember that above all else, we need to be respectful.
The district has recently been looking into the FASTER program.
The program trains staff members to have concealed carry gun licenses in order to carry a weapon at school for added security.
The program is controversial, and there are strong opinions on all sides of the issue.
The district is considering to implement a policy allowing staff to conceal carry firearms in case of a school shooting. We interviewed the board president to find out why this is being considered.
So the district right now is having a conversation at large about just overall safety, security of staff, students, and teachers within the district. A lot of events recently have come up that have warranted having a discussion. We had the MLO on the ballot last year that would have put additional armed security for elementary schools. That did not pass, and so that doesn't mean that safety and security is not a priority to the board or to the district. We just need to find different ways to be able to handle this. One of the options we're looking at right now is using non-uniformed armed staff within the schools. This may not be a district-wide rollout. This could be very specific, targeted in the buildings that actually get implemented. But right now, what we're really doing is having a philosophical discussion about non-uniformed armed staff and whether that's the right thing for our district at this time or not.
Teachers, parents, and students all have very strong feelings about the subject matter.
I just felt really passionately about coming to speak, voicing major concerns about not even reaching out to staff and polling staff and seeing what the general consensus would be, especially in the midst of a time where we really are seeing massive teacher shortages, and there are lots of teachers who would not feel comfortable staying in the district if they were to adopt a program like that.
We are failing to respond to the school shooting crisis in our nation, and the solutions that have been implemented yet to date have not solved the problem. And the biggest issue really is that you need to have something there on site within the first, say, 5 minutes of a school shooting when the majority of the casualties happen. Even if a police response time is quick, that's still not quick enough to respond to a mass shooter's attack.
I'm highly against it. I think it's just completely ridiculous. And the whole idea of just adding more armed individuals and that's somehow making the problem better is just a fantasy. They don't know how to handle high stress situations like that, much less I don't think they want to have to execute what they would have to do if they were armed. My mom's a teacher, and I know that at least 90% of the high school kids here could overpower her and gain access to a weapon if she had it. I think it's essentially just easier access to firearms for students, which could cause more school shootings.
This is a really emotional topic for a lot of people in our community when you're dealing with people's children, and especially when you're talking about firearms and weapons. It gets to be a really emotional discussion. We as a board are trying to move past the initial emotional reaction and get into having a more in-depth conversation around this. And because of that, understanding that this is an emotional decision, we're trying to bring stakeholders into the conversation. And so I don't know how long it will take, but it'll take as long as it needs to take for the board to make sure that we believe we've heard from enough of the stakeholder groups across the community.
If you want the board and superintendent to hear your view, you can either attend a board meeting and sign up for public comment, or send an email to the board and superintendent. This has been Nathaniel Bergstrom reporting for KRAM.
The district is only looking into the program currently, so if you want to share your opinion, you can attend the next board meeting and sign up for the public comments.
Next, we take a look at one of our most active clubs at RHS.
The Swing Club meets every Friday to indulge their love of the big band style of dancing.
Swing is a unique form of dancing that has been around for many years. Here at Rampart, we have a club dedicated to exploring the fun of swing and its various expressions. There are many distinct and important aspects that make up the Swing Club.
Swing Club is where we get together and we learn about swing dancing, which is a 1920s to 1950s style of partner dancing.
Basically, in the club, we look up different moves from the different styles. There are over 100 different styles of swing dancing, so we just like to do a mix of all of them.
You do a lot of different aerials and stuff like that, especially in more like modern times. There's a lot of throwing people and lifting people.
We asked some of the members what their favorite part of the club is.
My favorite part about it is being able to do a lot of aerial moves and being able to kind of throw people around, but in a dancing way. And a lot of people seem to really enjoy getting thrown around by me.
The best part about the club that I love is that nobody needs to have prior dance experience. If you have 2 left feet, that's perfectly fine. Swing is for everyone. It's like really a wide open dancing realm.
It's just the partnership aspect, because you get to like do it with a bunch of people and you get to like trust that person and you get to like throw them, and it's just a really fun way to connect with people and meet people.
The people in the Swing Club have developed a close-knit community of friends and are always striving to welcome people from all over the school.
My favorite part of it is honestly the people. It's a really good community, which I love. I had a friend my sophomore year who was running the club at the time, and he convinced me to come to one of the meetings, and I did, and then I loved it.
My favorite part has to be the people, especially just when we got to do multicultural show and romantics, because stuff like that we worked really hard to get done.
I actually didn't know what Swing Club was at first until one of my friends that was in it started throwing me. So I was actually doing like the girl position and I was getting like lifted up and thrown, and it was super fun.
If you're interested in dancing or just wanting to try something new and fun, consider joining the Swing Club. This has been Nelly Rivera Trejo reporting for Kram.
Thanks to the Swing Club for sharing their love of swing dancing with us.
Today, we are also taking a look at the No Place for Hate Club.
This group is a part of a larger nationwide group called the Anti-Discrimination League and promotes understanding between all groups.
Bullying and hate speech can be detrimental to people's ability to learn. A club here at Rampart, No Place for Hate, aims to counter such hate.
We basically just talk about how to make the school a better place. We're currently planning a panel right now so that we could become officially recognized as a No Place for Hate club in the nation.
So No Place for Hate is designed to be a student-led club that is really targeting the school climate and trying to make the school a more welcoming place for everyone.
So at No Place for Hate, our goal is to make the school a more tolerant place, to make it more accepting and inclusive. And so we do that with a few different methods.
It's important to me because, it's just hate's just not cool at all. And I just feel like everyone should just be nice to each other.
Well, I think just one of the great things about Rampart is that, our whole thing is that everyone has a place here. And so No Place for Hate really addresses that aspect of Rampart's culture and looks at how we can continue to improve that and make it an even better place for students.
It's somewhere that I feel like I can help and actually make an impact, and I can directly see the impacts we're making. So I'm on the data collection team, so especially getting to see directly how people change their answers. So
I got involved mainly they asked me last year, but it is something I care a lot about. Kindness is important, and I've definitely seen that working in high school, so I just think the mission is really cool. I think the more that we can promote those things, they will grow in our school, and kids will just get along better.
It is important to me because I believe that no matter what you are interested in and what you do around the school, you should always feel welcome and included, and I feel like some people don't feel that way.
It's important to the community because, a ton of people are just discriminated against and just experience prejudice, and it's just not cool.
Everyone needs a place to belong, and so when we have clubs like this that target hate speech and defamation and those types of things, it's just an excellent way to promote good community relationships.
With the kids that are involved, they just have really big hearts and they want to help others, and they want to make this a better place. So I just think it's important for Rampart as a whole that we can just come together as a club and find ways to make that happen.
So they're always welcome to come by a meeting. We meet at lunch on Fridays at 2:29. They can also email me or Miss Johnson, and we'd be happy to send them some information, but it's open to anyone who is interested.
Come to room 229 on Fridays during lunch to get involved. This has been Cameron Hazelton reporting for Kram.
Talk to Mr. Wiesner and Miss Johnson for more information about No Place for Hate.
As we finish up today, we want to give a special shout out to the speech and debate teams.
Maya Dietrich placed third in her category. Celine Bono and Hannah Paul reached the quarterfinals in their category. And Shanini Prakash reached semifinals in informative speaking.
This was by far the largest and most competitive tournament this season, and RHS outperformed all other Southern Colorado schools in our district.
That's all we had for this week, Rams. We'll see you at Ball for Bucks tomorrow.
This has been Chris Schrader
and Cruz Fleming.
Have a great week.
Welcome back. It's a ball. I'm sorry.
That's the take right there. Today, we are... Let's start that.
My mind just does not like the understanding. We have for this week where...
we should both say it at the same time,
okay.
so it's intriguing to the eye.